It was 7:15 a.m., coffee still steaming in my mug, when my wife, Sarah, burst through the front door, her phone gripped like it had just confessed to a crime. She's a pediatric surgeon, the kind of woman who can stitch up a kid's heart and not blink. But that morning, her eyes were fire. "Jake, why the hell is my SUV pinging a server in Nebraska?" she said, voice sharp enough to cut glass. That's when I knew someone was watching us, and they were using my damn code to do it. I'm Jake, a software engineer, built a company called SafePath that makes GPS systems for car smart, secure, the kind of tech you trust to keep your family safe. Sarah's question hit me like a brick. Nebraska? Our app logs shouldn't be talking to anywhere outside our encrypted cloud, let alone some random server in the middle of nowhere. I grabbed her phone, pulled up the dev console, and there it was, a rogue signal, slick and sneaky, her Ford Explorer whispering its every move to an unknown endpoint. My stomach twisted. This wasn't a glitch, it was a hijack. We live on a quiet 5-acre lot just outside Pinewood Estates, a snooty HOA neighborhood in suburban Texas. We bought the land to stay free of their relentless dues. No nosy committees, just us and our dogs. But Pinewood's queen bee, Linda Carver, had other plans. Linda, with her perfectly manicured lawn and her clipboard of complaints, had been gunning for us since we moved in. Our gravel driveway was unsightly. Sarah's late-night hospital shifts were disruptive, and once she even said our porch light was too bright like we were signaling aliens. "We're a mile away, lady," I told her. "Get a hobby." Turns out, her hobby was spying. I headed to the garage, Sarah trailing me, still fuming. I plugged a diagnostic tool into her SUV's port, and the data stream lit up my screen. One clean feed to our servers, and another, shadowy one, slipping through a masked IP. Then Sarah pointed to the rear fender. "What's that?" she said. Tucked above the wheel well was a cheap gray sticker, no bigger than a credit card, with a QR code that screamed trouble. I scanned it, and my heart stopped. The IP was traced to a domain owned by Pinewood Estates HOA. Linda's domain. And worse, the tracker was running a knockoff version of my 2018 SafePath firmware. Code I'd locked away years ago. Code no one should have. Someone had stolen it, and they were using it to stalk my wife. I looked at Sarah, her arms crossed, waiting for answers. "They're tracking you," I said, my voice low, "with my code." She didn't flinch, just nodded. "That explains the weird vibes at the grocery store," she said. "Linda's been watching me like I'm smuggling state secrets." I felt a slow burn in my chest. Not just anger, but violation, like someone had snuck into our home and rifled through our lives. Linda thought she could play spy. Fine. I'd show her what happens when you mess with the guy who wrote the rulebook. That night, I didn't sleep. I kept seeing that sticker, my code twisted into something dirty. By dawn, I had a plan not just to stop her, but to make her regret ever crossing us. I rewrote the firmware on Sarah's SUV, adding a trap I called Foxhole. It would detect any foreign device sniffing our signal and feed it to fake trail ass stations, coffee shops, late-night drives to nowhere, just enough to make Linda think she'd caught Sarah in some juicy scandal. I set up a private server to log every ping, every IP that dared peek at us. If Linda wanted data, I'd drown her in it. Sarah was skeptical. "You're gonna let her think I'm sneaking around?" she said, eyebrow raised. I grinned. "Babe, we're not just baiting her, we're making her think she's cracked a soap opera. Let's give her a show." That afternoon, we parked the SUV at the edge of our property, right where Pinewood's easement road could see it. The tracker was live, spewing my fake data. I watched the logs from my laptop, heart pounding. At 7:42 p.m., a new IP popped up, pinewoodestates.org, checking the feed every few minutes, not scraping, just watching. Linda was hooked. Then it got wild. A black Cadillac Escalade, HOA plates gleaming, rolled up near our fence. Out stepped Linda, laptop in hand, like she was auditioning for a spy flick. She pointed her screen at Sarah's car, smirking like she'd won the lottery. I flipped on the SUV's dash cam, audio live. "She's at it again," Linda muttered into her phone, voice dripping with glee. Same spot, third night in a row. I knew she was up to no good. I nearly laughed. She was chasing a ghost, and she had no clue. Time to spring the trap. I'd tipped off my buddy, Detective Matt Ruiz, from the Texas Cybercrimes Unit. Matt and I go way back, busted a cartel's GPS spoofing ring a few years ago. When I showed him the logs, the stolen code, he whistled. "This ain't just HOA drama, Jake. This is federal." He rolled up with two plainclothes officers, body cams rolling. I stepped out from the shadows, Sarah by my side. "Smile, Linda," I said, voice cold. "You're on camera." She spun around, nearly dropping her laptop, face pale as milk. Matt flashed his badge. "Linda Carver, step away from the vehicle. You're under arrest for illegal surveillance, wiretapping, and theft of proprietary software." She stammered, "I was protecting the neighborhood." But Matt wasn't having it. In her bag, we found her iPad, loaded with a tracking dashboard labels like Dr. Lady, Noisy Dog Guy, Jake's wife. In her trunk, a box of pre-coded trackers ready to slap on more cars. This wasn't a one-off. Linda was running a full-on spy ring, and she'd been selling the data. We found CSV files labeled insurance prospects, tracking kids' school routes, late-night drives, even hospital visits. She'd sold it all to a shady firm, Pinnacle Insurance, for a quick buck. The courtroom was a circus reporters, furious neighbors, even a guy in a "Don't Spy on Me" shirt. Linda sat there, no more HOA swagger, just a woman staring down 4 years in federal prison. The prosecutor, a no-nonsense lawyer named Emily Voss, tore into her. "This isn't vigilance, Miss Carver. This is stalking with a business plan." They played Linda's voice from the dash cam, crowing about catching Sarah. The jury didn't blink. When the judge denied bail, Linda's face crumpled like cheap paper. As they cuffed her, our eyes locked. I didn't gloat, just stared, letting her feel the weight of justice. She looked away. But it didn't end there. SafePath sued Pinewood Estates for $1.20 million stolen code, reputational damage, betrayal of trust. Discovery was a gold mine. Emails showing HOA board members in on it, meeting minutes about community monitoring. Even a PowerPoint Linda pitched called Pinewood 2.0. Eyes everywhere. The HOA collapsed, the board resigned, and assets were liquidated. Then we dug deeper. Pinnacle Insurance wasn't just buying data. They'd woven my stolen code into their tracking software, Veritas Pulse, and sold it nationwide. We found their trackers in HOAs from Arizona to Maine. The FBI's on it now, and Pinnacle's lawyer, some hotshot named Greg Dalton, is sweating bullets. 6 months later, I stood at a cybersecurity conference in Austin, showing the crowd that damn sticker, my code, and the fake map that sent Linda running into my trap. The room laughed, then got quiet when I said, "This wasn't about one nosy neighbor. It's about what happens when trust becomes a weapon." Back home, Sarah and I sat by our fire pit, the stars bright above our land. She leaned into me, her voice soft. "What if we hadn't caught that ping, Jake? How far would she have gone?" I didn't answer, just pulled her close. I knew Linda would have kept digging, deeper, darker, until it wasn't just trackers. That's the scary part. It never stops at just. Now, here's the thing: Pinewood's gone, Linda's locked up, but someone, somewhere, is still watching, thinking they're untouchable. Maybe it's your HOA, your neighbor, your insurance company. So tell me, what would you do if you found a tracker on your car? Would you fight like we did, or let it slide? Drop it in the comments, share your stories, because this isn't just our fight, it's everyone's. Hit subscribe if you're ready to watch The Watchers.